On opening night, a 3-1 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning on Garden Ice. Welcome inside our Delta MSG studios, everyone. John Giannone alongside Steve Valiquette. A pretty thorough win on opening night for the Rangers in a building that was loud, a team that was intense, and a result that was most welcome for the home team.
And a young defense that really defended well. You know, you look at the defense, and they've only got one player over 25 years old, and Jacob Trouba as a 28-year-old leading the way. But they were stout. You know, at the beginning of the first and beginning of the second, Shesterkin was called upon to make a big save, but then that settled everybody down. Mika Zibanejad played the role that you want him to play early on in the season. Last year, 1 goal in the first month of the season. 2 years ago, 1 goal in the first month of the season. It seems to take him a little while to get going. But with he, Kakko, and Kreider, they were a force, especially in the first and second period early on, because they had the puck and then they had looks, they gained momentum, and we know that at the beginning of the season there's going to be a lot of power plays both ways. The Rangers managed that well. At one point in the second period, we were talking about how they already had 15 shots on goal, and they gained a lot of momentum off their power play. That was helpful. Not much to really criticize in this game. I think that's a splendid start. Everybody looks sharp, and the team's firing on all cylinders pretty quickly here, John.
Yeah, only 18 shots on goal at even strength for the Tampa Bay Lightning, a fairly stout offensive team. Igor Shesterkin stopped them all. It was a scoreless game into the second period, even though the Rangers had outshot the Lightning 14-8 in the opening period. And then Mika Zibanejad did something that he did only one time all of last year, and that is score shorthanded, and it was a beautiful goal.
Beautiful goal, and it was a reload twice where the team just kept countering. And the key is when you're countering, you've got to be able to have the team in transition on their heels and look for a scoring opportunity. When Lindgren gets this puck up ice here, Mika looks in his rearview mirror. He waits for Kreider, and this sets up a play at net that is really now forcing Tampa to defend. If this puck comes off the pad of Vasilevsky, you're looking at a play that could be a bank in, but it's a recovered puck, and that's the key for Miller quickly getting back, and he was a terrific skater all night. Trouba outlets, and now you've got a good reset. And don't forget, you're killing right now. This is a shorty, and you're getting a second reload. Lafreniere's route here, it really sets up a situation where it's a one-on-one. Mika's got his left skate up. Vasilevsky's right knee comes down, and as Lafreniere acts as the decoy and gets clamped down there by Sergachev, it's really a play here to his backhand that Vasilevsky's very good at, being able to cut off that play when a right-hander comes to the backhand across the middle. Vasilevsky, one of the better goalies in the NHL on breakaways, but Mika's hands were just too fast there. He looks fast. He's got an extra step, and I think this is really big for him because when you want to be a 25, 30, 35 goal scorer, you've got to get 5, 6, 7 goals a month. He's already off to a great start. He could have had a third on the empty netter.
Yeah, so Mika Zibanejad scores the Rangers' first goal, the Rangers' first shorthanded goal of the season. His 11th career shorthanded goal, 9 of those as a Ranger. That gave the Rangers a 1-0 lead, 3:25 into the second period. Less than 6 minutes later, the Tampa Bay Lightning tied the game on something you don't see every day in the NHL, and that's 2 penalties called against the same player on the same play.
It was nice to see at least the referee called them himself, and it wasn't split, because sometimes you can see referees making a call from distance. I'm okay with it. The trip, yes. The high shoulder elbow, yes. I think you got to deal with that if you're the Rangers. The only issue here is losing clean off the draw. That becomes a one-timer from the middle of the ice. Very little chance here for Shesterkin. You can see that he's not able to set his feet. Therefore, he can't set his head and get a good look at that release. And Stamkos' weapon from the middle of the ice. I mean, good night, Irene. That's in the back of the net before you can even move. But that's something that you don't see too often, too, though. It's a 5-on-3 with that type of motion, with that type of team. I mean, that's usually a guaranteed goal against.
Yeah, so
to move on.
The Rangers had won 30 out of 47 faceoffs on the night. They lost that one. That made it a tie game heading into the third period. And of all the elements that made the Rangers successful last year, third period dominance was a very important one. They pick up where they left off in that department because only 5:11 into the third of a tie game on the power play, it's number 93 again.
And again, it's a big moment where he really needs to step up. And I can't impress this upon the fans at home enough. You really need your big guys to carry the mail early in the season because things are still unsteady. There's a lot of scattered play that the Rangers were able to manage, and they were able to reload here because Trocheck wins a board battle. Mika gets himself open. There are a lot of small elements here. Trocheck was initially kicked out of the face-off dot. Mika gets in for him, and there's a lot of play here that you can already see that everybody's working off one another. Trocheck, he was in the bumper position, and he was able to get into a shooting position frequently in the game. Mika here, I think he does a good job just to keep this play moving north. And then you can see Trocheck here being able to help. You get some support from Kreider, Panarin, Fox up top, and now watch how Mika comes downhill. This is the key. The Rangers are looking for motion on their power play. You come downhill like this, you lose a stick for Killorn, there's a wide open panel, and that's the spot that was really effectively shot in the first game of the postseason when they played against one another in the third round. It's just above the pad and just below the low blocker. It's an elevated shot, but Mika's one-timer. I mean, he is in mid-season form.
Yeah.
And again, we've seen this in the past from him. A little bit of a slow start, whiffing on a few, missing his one-timer, and he's in mid-season form to start the season this year.
15 goals last year on the power play for Zibanejad, 11 of those on one-timers just like that. So that gave the Rangers a 2-1 lead. We saw the importance of Vincent Trocheck on that play. He didn't get an assist in his Rangers debut, but another guy who made his Rangers debut did get an assist with 9 minutes left in the game. A vital insurance goal scored by Barclay Goodrow, but contributed by Ryan Carpenter.
Yeah, and Ryan Carpenter did have his hot moments in the dot. You saw the loss on the 5-on-3, but prior to that, he was red hot, and he was an impact player for them. Gerard Gallant is very familiar with him. He knows where to fit him, and he had a nice night. Goodrow, you love his play down low, and then being able to manage that net front. The more the Rangers can have a concerted effort with the group and it not just be Kreider, but guys make a decision to be there, you're going to do yourself a lot of good because you're really not just being there for the play after the shot, but trying to allow the goaltender to pick up the pass late. You could see it on Zibanejad's goal. He was kind of getting that puck as well late because Vasilevsky can't see it coming through the seam. I just thought the Rangers did a good job of doing the little things in the first game of the season, which typically isn't the case. You're usually looking to piece things together and trying to find your rhythm, but the Rangers were able to get it very early.